After a star's heinous acts almost terminated JUSO's career, Adam Pearce was incensed and warned Nick Aldis on WWE Raw. On Raw, the stars interrupted two other people, attacked them, and attempted to render them immobile and wounded. Jimmy USO was expected to join JUSO for this week's Raw to chat and greet. After reuniting last week, the two superstars discussed their future plans at this week's Raw opening. They were stopped by the same forces that had brought them together, the Bloodline, just as they were beginning to mend their damaged relationship. Out of nowhere, Jacob Fatu, Tonga Loa, and Tama Tonga rushed up to Jimmy and JUSO. After assaulting Jimmy, they shackled him with ropes and placed a chair over Jay's neck. They wanted to crush his neck with Jacob Fatu's hip assault, but he snatched the chair and threw it at them. The Bloodline was forced to flee as the two began unleashing devastating superkicks. According to Adam Pearce, who was speaking backstage, Nick Aldis was to fault since the Bloodline weren't meant to be there, and because Aldis needed to take charge of his roster moving forward. Evidently enraged, he yelled at him over the phone. This week, things got rather hot on WWE Raw due to a confrontation between SmackDown's new general manager, Nick Aldis, and WWE authority figure and behind-the-scenes enforcer of order, Adam Pearce. At its core, the conflict, an aggressive and perhaps fatal assault on JUSO by an adversarial wrestler in the WWE. The ripple effects of this high-stakes encounter are still reverberating across the WWE Universe, and Pearce wasted no time putting the blame on Aldis. The already volatile dynamics inside WWE have taken a new turn as senior executives Pearce and Aldis are now fighting for responsibility and power, a struggle that threatens to shake both Raw and SmackDown to their very foundations. An unexpected and brutal ambush targeted JUSO on this week's Raw show. It was to be expected that Jay would be the target of extreme hostility, given that the Bloodline plot involves sowing seeds of animosity across the whole roster. But this time, the violence was different. A WWE superstar, who was allegedly following secret instructions, seemed to be aiming his attack at JUSO in an attempt to convey a message. Onlookers wondered whether the incident, which left Jay wounded, was an effort to permanently bench him. After this happened, Adam Pearce stormed out onto the WWE stage to vent his anger at the attack on Jay. Nick Aldis was held accountable by Pearce, who voiced his concerns. Pearce's anger shone through as he criticized Aldis for being too lenient on interbrand issues, implying that the SmackDown general manager was failing in his responsibility to keep his talent in check and establish order. Pearce made it clear that Raw is not a venue where SmackDown stars can come and cause chaos. Before anybody gets harmed, Nick Aldis should limit his roster. Given the intensity of the situation, Pearce's tolerance for Aldis's antics has clearly been tested. The animosity between Adam Pearce and Nick Aldis has never been verbal. Pearce knows the ins and outs of maintaining harmony in the locker room thanks to his long tenure in WWE. However, Aldis is a new general manager who has taken a more hands-off approach since joining SmackDown. Aldis has shown a willingness to allow SmackDown stars to test boundaries, regardless of the consequences for their safety or the unity of the WWE roster, in contrast to Pearce, who promotes discipline and defined limitations. The situation has lately been more contentious as Aldis caused a stir by urging the SmackDown stars to make an impact in whatever way they could. Some have speculated that Aldis's assault on JUSO was an attempt to increase the brand's visibility, even if it meant going against RAW's rules, because of this vague support of aggressiveness. It's obvious that Aldis's approach has irritated Pearce, who views Aldis's lenient regulations as an immediate danger to the Raw structure he has worked so hard to achieve. "If you want chaos, Nick, you're going to get it," Pearce openly challenged Aldis after the attack on Jey Uso. "However, I will not sit idly by as SmackDown's chaos transfers to Raw." This power battle occurred behind the scenes, and the WWE was rocked by the clash. Fans are wondering how it may affect future storylines. A challenge, not a mere warning, was Adam Pearce's message to Nick Aldis. Allowing WWE stars to freely switch brands is risky, according to Pearce, since it fosters unregulated rivalries that may easily get out of hand. The show's stability and discipline have been put to the test, and Pearce's beliefs have been challenged by Aldis's approach. "If you don't control your roster, I will," Pearce told Aldis in an angry speech. "Never again will my skill be the focus of such gutless attacks. This is my show. I hope this is the last time any of the SmackDown stars can get away with anything stupid." Not only was Pearce threatening to handle Aldis's roster if he failed to manage Jey Uso's onslaught, but he was also sending a message to Aldis that he would. Speculation amongst fans is that Pearce may impose bans or cross-brand penalties on SmackDown superstars who interfere with Raw matters. By doing so, Pearce has the opportunity to establish new limits, making it more difficult for SmackDown stars to uninhibitedly interfere on Raw. The tenacity of Jey Uso is well known. Jey has triumphed over many challenges during his career, many of which have sprung from the strong familial dynamics inside the Bloodline. He is renowned as one of the most passionate and resolute superstars in WWE. Still, he's in a hazardous situation now that this incident has happened. What matters most is the message sent, not the actual harm done. Numerous enemies have set their sights on Jey because of his past affiliation with the Bloodline and current status with Raw. It seems that some of the stars on SmackDown are anxious to get rid of Jey as a danger, particularly given his recent surge in popularity, because Aldis may be pressing his roster to do so. Jey must decide whether to seek protection from Pearce or to take things into his own hands and retaliate, intensifying the rivalry between Raw and SmackDown. There may be more to the narrative involving brand loyalty and rivalry between Raw and SmackDown than just Adam Pearce and Nick Aldis's feud. If Pearce and Aldis continue to argue over Jey Uso, WWE could be preparing for a full-scale brand war. Pearce and Aldis, two stars from Raw and SmackDown, might be involved in a storyline where they feud across both programs, with the aim of establishing their authority and making this battle personal. Speculation among fans about potential bouts with groups loyal to Pearce and Aldis engaging in struggles for brand domination reminiscent of Survivor Series is already underway. Picture this. The heavy hitters from Raw, united under Pearce's disciplinary flag, taking on the loose cannons from SmackDown, inspired by Aldis's code of ethics. This has the potential to heighten current plots while also spawning new rivalry between the two brands. In addition, unless Aldis steps up to the plate, Pearce has dropped hints about shoring up security and perhaps even excluding certain SmackDown superstars from Raw events. He made it clear that he will not hesitate to take extreme measures to prevent SmackDown wrestlers from accessing the premises in order to safeguard Raw from their careless actions. An increase in drama with SmackDown stars vying to invade Raw may result from such a limitation, which would keep Raw secure. Fans of both Pearce and Aldis have taken stands in this developing drama, with the former favoring a more methodical approach and the latter favoring a more freewheeling, anything-goes attitude. Pearce is seen by many as the defender of tradition, whereas Aldis is admired for his daring to let superstars follow their gut, even if it means causing chaos. Aldis is bringing excitement back. Adam Pearce is just trying to keep things safe. One fan tweeted, "I like how SmackDown stars have no boundaries. We need order, not chaos." Another person said, "Pearce has to put Aldis straight since his antics are ridiculous."